For me, it's all about that roasted chicken. It brings back so many fond memories in eating it with friends and family, and also roasting it for friends and family. Okay, so it looks like we have a lot of stuff here, and we do, because we got 3 steps with our chicken, and I want to really explain that to you so you understand where we're going to go and have, at the end of the day, what's been considered my last meal. And it's kind of an odd thing, but people ask me all the time, what would you eat at your last meal? And always, there may be some things a little different in front, maybe a little different dessert. That's questionable. But there's always the roast chicken involved. And the roast chicken, to me, is about an experience. There are so many different flavors, textures on a roast chicken. And sometimes we're afraid to roast a chicken just for ourselves. But I have to say, roasting a chicken for yourself is wonderful because of the leftovers. The roasted chicken reminds me of places I've been in the past. Roast chicken is one of those preparations that crosses all geographic boundaries and all social boundaries and even economic boundaries. Everybody loves roasted chicken, and we realize that. So I'm going to express to you my way of making what I think is almost the best way to roast a chicken. But we're going to get some vegetables here, and this comes back to being able to cook a dinner using one piece of cookware. So we have an oval roasting pan here with some wonderful root vegetables in it. I'm going to go ahead and cut a few more here for you and kind of show you some important things about vegetables. So this is a rutabaga. And you can see, if you can see right here, there's a circle around the interior meat. That part is a bit tough. So we don't peel our rutabagas or our turnips with a vegetable peeler. We always peel them with a knife to remove that 1/8 of an inch of skin, or that toughness part. So we just go ahead and start going down, through. You can see I'm working on a piece of parchment paper, again, so I can just pick the whole thing up and discard all of the trim. The same thing with the turnip. And you'll notice the same. You see the white circle there around the skin. We want to remove all of that. A sharp knife helps, obviously. Then we have a boiler onion. We're just going to take a little bit of that root end off of there. We've peeled it. Our parsnips and our carrot. One of the things I like to use is a green scrubbing pad. It removes the exterior part of the skin and leaves you as much of that flesh as possible. So here, as opposed to our rutabagas and our turnips, the parsnip and the carrot, we can just peel with our green scrubbing. Of course, I've washed these even before I've done this part. But I like to keep some of that skin on there. It looks really nice, and of course, it has a little bit of flavor as well. Just a little bit of water. And then the same with the carrot. And then our leeks, we're going to half our leeks. Now, there may be some dirt in here. So we always want to cut our leeks in half. Explore for that soil that may be left over. And then you're going to find more up top where the leaf is separated than in the bottom. So you see fairly clean, but just to make sure, there's a little bit of dirt there. So we want to go ahead and soak them in water. Here you can see quite a bit of soil there. Right, there's a lot right there. So go ahead and just cut those in half. And we'll soak those. So now I can just go ahead and discard my paper. We'll continue to prepare our vegetables here. So just trimming off the top at an angle just to give us some aesthetics. Now this I might just cut in half at the top. And then just go ahead and split it there. Or leave it whole. It's really up to you. They'll roast, they'll be certainly have enough time in the oven to cook completely through. Our rutabaga turnip here, just in wedges. Put those in there. All these vegetables are going to roast in our oven with our chicken. The juices coming out. We'll have a little bit of oil in here. If you like, you could put some herbs in here as well. You can use different kind of vegetables. Fennel is always a wonderful thing to use. Celery branch works. Almost forgot our little onion here. Okay, we've got all that clean. Always wash in warm water as well. The warm water will help remove the soil quicker than cold water does. Cold water will actually clump it. All right, so we have our vegetable bed. Beautiful. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and season these. In this case, with a little bit of salt. And we're going to use clarified butter. We're going to brush our chicken skin with clarified butter. So I'm just going to drizzle some clarified butter in here as well. Now you can use oil if you don't have clarified butter. Vegetable oil is fine, and any kind of vegetable oil works. And just kind of coat those. All right. So there's our bed of vegetables that we're going to roast our chicken on, and then ultimately we'll have this beautiful dinner with all these different beautiful vegetables and our roasted chicken. In the meantime, let me begin by showing you what we want to be able to do here, which is first we want to take the wishbone out of our chicken. And that's really it before it goes into the brining solution for 24 hours. This is about a 2.5 pound, 3 pound chicken. We have chickens today that are fryers, which are between 2 and 3 pounds. So this is what would be a fryer. There's roasters, which are 3 to 4 pounds. And then we have other kinds of birds that we can also oven roast and brine as well. We do pigeons, guinea fowl, pheasants, capons. So all of these different birds that are available can be treated in the same manner that we're working with today. So I'm just going to quickly remove the wishbone and say, why remove the wishbone? Well, when I carve my chicken, I want to be able to take my knife and go all the way down and capture all of that breast meat. And if that wishbone is there, as many of you have realized, when a wishbone is there, you kind of got to go around the wishbone. So if you take the wishbone out now, it helps prevent you from having to try to manipulate around the wishbone with the knife later. So just pull that up. And then I'm going to take and pull back that meat from that. I can feel the wishbone with my fingertip and just start to slide my knife tip right across it. Exposing the wishbone. And the other side, and do the same thing. You know, course, it's a bit awkward for me because I'm trying to show you where you can see it. But right there, you can hear it. Hope you can hear that. And then just take my fingers. You can start to see that a little better now. My finger's right there. There's the bone. There's the bone on both sides. So that's the wishbone. Now I'm just going to slide my thumb, my index finger up to the tip where it meets the breastplate, and then just snap it loose. Bring it back. And there we have our wishbone. What we all did when we were kids, of course, we dried our wishbones and then made a wish. That's why they call it the wishbone. But that helps you be able to carve the breast more efficiently, more effectively, and without having to maneuver a knife around that bone. So this would then go right into the chicken brine, which we prepared. I'm going to bring our brine chicken now. So we're going to truss it. As you all know, the recipe for the brine is in the workbook. You may ask, do I really have to brine my chicken? No, you don't. It is a wonderful way to season the chicken thoroughly. Give it that wonderful flavor. Again, you want to have it in the brine. This is a 10% salt solution, so you want to have it in the brine so for enough period of time that salt and the other flavors that we have in here, which is a little bit of honey, of course some thyme, some lemon, some bay leaf, some parsley, some peppercorns. We want to have enough time for those flavors that are in the brine, as well as our salt, to actually penetrate the skin of the chicken, penetrate the flesh of the chicken. Remember, it's brining inside and out. Now, I know some people like to put herbs and lemons and things inside their chicken, but because we brined it, you don't have to. All right. So there's our chicken. One of the challenges in roasting any bird is the amount of time it takes to cook legs as opposed to breast. And as anybody who's ever had a great roasted chicken knows that the breast should be nice and juicy and the leg should be cooked through. We don't want to see any blood, or if we do, just a minor amount of pink around that leg joint where that leg joint meets the thigh. Of course, in brining, we have introduced moisture. And this is a little bit of a contradiction from what we talked about early when we didn't want to buy chickens that were water-cooled, but air-cooled because we want to introduce moisture. In this case, we've introduced a brine, we've introduced flavor to it. We've helped to bring some more moisture to the breast. So the cooking of the breast and the legs will almost be identical. One thing that I've learned about a chicken, because I enjoy them so much, is I can tolerate a little bit overdoneness on the breast as long as the breast remains moist. And that breast remaining moist through the brining is part of that result. All right, so we're going to truss our chicken. A lot of moisture, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my towel underneath there so it helps. And it's a very easy process. We're going to take a piece of butcher's twine, just snuggle it underneath what is the Pope's nose right there. We're going to bring it over the two leg joints there. So you see we have a cross right there. And then we're going to take it and slide it underneath the leg. So we've created a figure 8, if you can see that. We're going to snuggle that right underneath the breast and pull back. Pull this way, across, and pull back at the same time. Now I'm pulling my breast skin down with my thumbs because I want to make sure I make that breast skin taut. Wrapping my string through where they cut the neck. That was the neck is right here. And you can see just a little remnant of where the neck was. And that's going to hold that string in place. And then I'm going to do that wonderful slip knot that I use. And then just go ahead and tie it tightly there. There we have our trussed, brined 2.5, 3 pound roasting chicken. And then we're going to go ahead and put that in our refrigerator for at least 2 days, possibly 3. We have the advantage in our restaurants to have a lot of air movement in our refrigerators because we have fans. And we actually add fans to our walk-ins as well so that we can increase the velocity of air that goes around our chickens. Chickens being a very special dish at Bouchon, we want to make sure that we always have as perfect a roasted chicken as possible. And air drying it results in having this beautiful, almost lacquered, crispy skin, which we all really enjoy in a roasted chicken, is the texture of the skin. That's why I talked about earlier, the contrasting textures and flavors from the different parts of the chicken, from the Pope's nose to the thighs, to the legs, to the wings, to the breast, even the oysters, the little oysters that are part of the connection between the back and the leg, which are just so wonderful. There's all these little treasures to find on a chicken and to be able to enjoy on that chicken. So air drying it is really important. Let me just get this one back again. So the chicken that was just out of brine, which we're getting ready to dry, and the chicken which has been dried for 3 days. Quite a difference in that. Okay, so we're just gonna then brush it with a little bit of clarified butter. That fat's gonna help crisp up that skin a little bit, but it's also gonna help us season it, so with our salt. So the salt's gonna actually adhere to the fat, or in this case, the butter that's on the chicken. Can you use oil? Certainly. You can use vegetable oil. Okay. We have our oven preheated to 475 degrees. We want to really get that intense heat on the chicken so it really starts to crisp up that skin. And then we'll turn down the heat after 15 or 20 minutes to about 375 and finish the roasting process. And you see how that, one of my favorite parts about this is that as that salt bakes onto that skin, and that first bite of that salty skin is just so wonderful. And there we have our, what I like to call a one-pot meal. Our chicken, 25 minutes at 475. Reduce that temperature to 400 degrees. Another 35 to 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, but I want you to really be watching it and testing that chicken and make sure that you understand and you learn how to roast a chicken. Very important. Sometimes the first couple times may be overcooked. After that, it may not be. Maybe just perfect. One of the things I was explaining earlier is about just testing it, is just sticking your knife in this joint here to see if that juice runs out clear. We're going to take the chicken out. Just a reminder, when you put your chicken in the refrigerator to air dry it, we don't want to cover it. Obviously, if we cover it with something, we're preventing that air. But once again, just to speak about that air drying, it's something that you have to also monitor and see how well it's drying. So be careful how many things you put in the refrigerator that have a lot of humidity in it, because that humidity is going to fill up the cavity of your refrigerator and diminish the ability for the chicken to air dry. I'm not suggesting that you get a special refrigerator for air drying the chicken, but just do the best you can. You saw the difference between the fresh chicken and the air dried chicken. If you can get anywhere beyond that, the moisture that was in our brine chicken and get some air drying quality to it, the better off you're going to be. So now we get the best part of all, start to carve our chicken so that we can prepare to eat it. I've got these beautiful roasted vegetables. I don't want to forget about those because this is just such a wonderful way of cooking vegetables. You can even just roast your vegetables like this without any protein, and if you like that quality of roasted vegetables. But these are the little tidbits that I love. You know, when it really gets charred around the edge, you can see the rutabagas. There's no resistance. Our potatoes are going all the way through. So we've got some really nice leeks here. Again, you know, this charred area is part of my favorite parts of vegetables when they start to get charred like that. So I also like to pop the flavor a little bit, and you know, we talked about how acid does that. So you know, just a little squeeze of lemon juice on things sometimes just enhances those flavors. The chicken has rested for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's fine. It's still very hot. You don't have to worry about the chicken getting cold. Well, I mean, you do have to worry about the chicken getting cold, but not in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It'll be fine. Okay, we're going to remove our butcher's twine. I use a slicer for many things. I'm just going to go down the seam. So this is a term called seaming. So we're looking at the seams of where the leg meets the breast. Just seam it down. You get to that joint and just cut through. Now you can cut through the leg, the thigh, again, same on the other side. Find that seam right there. Stick the tip of your knife, follow it down. It's hot. Then you'll see where, by removing that wishbone here, I'll take my knife down, right down the breast, and there's no obstruction. You can see right there, there's no obstruction. Typically that wishbone would be right there, and I'd have to maneuver my knife blade around it. We'll leave the wing on the breast, but that's up to you. You can take it off as well. And going down with my knife, the tip of my knife till I feel I'm hitting bone, and then maneuvering it out. Okay. If you want to take the wing off, you just turn it over. Slice there, and you've got a beautiful wing. But you can see that. Now, my two favorite pieces are right here, the Pope's nose, and I talked about those oysters. Let me just show you that real quick. Right here is that chicken oyster that we talk about. See where that socket is, where the leg at the backbone is where that little oyster is, which is called. One of my most memorable times at the French Laundry is when Julia Child came for dinner. And she came several times, and she would actually come in the back door and cozy up to one of the chef de parties on the line and startle them with her voice and how's it going or what are you doing, and tell me how you're cooking, what you're cooking. And then she would go to the dining room and sit down, and we never really showed Julie a menu because we know what she loved to eat. And we would always roast her a beautiful chicken for dinner. Here we are, our beautiful roasted chicken with our roasted root vegetables. I think Julia Child would be very proud.